welcome to Falcon TV. Today is Tuesday, May 12, 2020. I'm Jess Creighton along with the rest of the FTV crew. Now as states are moving forward to reopen weather quickly, our experts are warning that it is too soon. One study showed that how in Japan, where they did a good job of controlling the outbreak, then many of the restrictions were lifted. But afterwards, cases and deaths surged in a second wave of infections, and 26 days later, they were back on lockdown. That's right, at the stage America is now. A leading scholar at Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security said that none of the states met all the criteria needed to start reopening. He also said that the U.S. risks complicity in accepting the preventable deaths of thousands of Americans each day, and that our healthcare workers do not have what they need to do their job safely. In fact, data from Johns Hopkins University shows that states of COVID-19 in a number of states are on the rise. Meanwhile, the University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation's new model says that nearly 135,000 people will have died from COVID-19 by August 4th. That's more than double the last model and takes into consideration the easing of restrictions. As states try to kickstart their economies, health experts are talking about a balance. They're trying to talk about equitable reentry because it's just not about opening up the state, but they want to open the state in a way that is equitable. Making sure those folks who have hourly jobs, for example, that might just report to work and have probably reported to work the whole time, are still provided the options to be tested. Options to have appropriate protective wear and opportunity if needed to be quarantined off-site. There is a fine line, and the message to the country residents is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Health officials want to see clearly visible decline and safety measures in place because as bad as the country is, if things get worse, then everything will shut down for longer, causing greater problems in the long run. But America has often had action seen taking knee-jerk and a short-run perspective towards events. And as a concern about opening and safety is an issue, another factor that is being looked at in the long run is schooling. Jackson Gatens has more with that story.
As the economy is a big focus, another lingering question that many areas are asking is what about schooling? Public schools play a range of roles in society beyond education, as childcare for millions of working parents. They are a cornerstone of any attempt to reopen the economy. They are hubs for community relationships and distribution points for essential social services. But before any of that, they must be safe places for children with those various functions in mind. Education leaders are putting out plans that forecast some very big changes to what public schools might look like in the coming months and even years. The complications are leading to a patchwork effect and a disconnect between levels of government in many places. Since it will take school administrations time because of all the planning necessary to open up safely, that gap between a state executive proclaiming schools okay to open and the reality of students gathering in just a few schools shows the logistical challenges faced by schools. For one, school in the West Coast are allowing students to come back to the single middle high school to meet face-to-face with teachers for what amounts to targeted tutoring sessions. They can sign up for an appointment to get help in a subject they are struggling with. Plans are being looked at to see what schools will look like, regardless of the particular path any district takes. The pandemic is likely to be a turning point as far as the role of technology in public K-12 education, as plans foresee further waves of the virus leading to future school shutdowns. Another reason to keep remote learning plans in place, just as school districts have done for years in the case of snow days or tornadoes, some plans envision schools running in parallel, both online and in person. The American Federation of Teachers plan recommends community schools. Public schools across the country right now are being used for food distribution. Clearly that's become their essential, non-duplicated function in an emergency. Could more schools then add housing, mental health, or healthcare services on top of that? There are many unanswered questions that districts and townships will have to answer in the coming months.
And speaking of schooling, a reminder that AP testing started yesterday for students and continues through May 22nd. We want to wish all students the best of luck on their tests. Now, the concerns about opening and what to do with schooling aren't enough. The virus is its own issue, as new symptoms arise and other aspects to what the virus does to the body is keeping doctors on alert. Now, however, there is a mutant coronavirus strand, more dominant worldwide, possibly more infectious. Autumn Daughtry has more.
That's right, Jess. Researchers found a mutated strain of the coronavirus about 3 months ago. Scientists say it could spread more quickly and could impact the development of a vaccine. This latest study examines mutations of the coronavirus and says a new strain found months ago appears to have been spreading across the world and become dominant in the pandemic. The researchers said they wanted to alert the other scientists. From the data it shows, it may even be more contagious than the original strain found in China, as well as many other strains originally found in Italy. The mutation spike is of urgent concern. It began spreading in Europe in early February, and when introduced to new regions, it rapidly becomes the dominant form, said the study. One doctor said that the definition of a strain is really not clear-cut. However, there is still much more that needs to be learned from the pandemic. The study's author noted if the virus continues to circulate through the summer, it could continue to mutate, a problem in this world with little immunity and no vaccine.
With the weather getting warmer and Americans wishing to get out and also get back to work, the country and the world has a lot to look at considering these unpredicted times. So for me and everyone here at Falcon TV, stay safe and be well.